This video is going to show you how to do the citation for an edited book. An edited book is a book made up of different chapters written by different people. So in this particular case, I'm inside ebook academic collection, and it gives me the information about the book, right? I'm in this record. Here's the title, here's the author, but that could be misleading because if I look at the cover, I can tell that down here says editor. So that's why I cannot fully trust what is on this page. I have to actually go in and access the book. So I'm going to click on that, on the PDF full text, to open up the full book. Then I'm going to look at the title of the book, the subtitle down here. Okay, it tells me Jeffrey Graham, that's the editor. Here's the company that published the book. I'm going to go on the left side and bring down the table of contents if I'm able to. See, there you go. So then these are the different chapters on the side. You click on contents. So many times when you are looking at an edited book, you can tell that it's edited and it has different chapters written by different people, because when you go to the table of contents, you're going to see the chapters, the title for the chapters, and the name of the different authors for each of the chapters. I do want to let you know that sometimes the author is not listed right on the table of contents, and you actually have to click on the chapter in order to be able to see who the author is. But in this example, let's just say that I'm going to borrow some information from chapter 6. I'm going to click on chapter 6 and I open it up, and here's the beginning of it. So here's the ISBN number. It gives me the publisher for this particular book, the title of the book, and the editor. Here's the chapter. Here's the title of the chapter, and here are the two authors who wrote this particular chapter. In this case, this is a case study. So here's the abstract, and I'm looking at the bottom or towards the top to see if I can find a DOI number, and in this case, I don't have a DOI. So I can just ignore that piece right now. So there's no mention of that. So if I can't find a DOI or original publication information, then I just don't put it. I can just continue on with whatever's on this book. And again, here are the page numbers. So if I want to borrow an idea from a particular section, like from here, for example, I need to notate that it's on page 122 for when I do the in-text citation. So let's go ahead and start the reference list, the reference citation for this particular source. So then on the left side, I have minimized the ebook so that I can go back and forth. And on the right side, I have the OWL Purdue article or chapter in an edited book. And here's where I have the key or the guide and instructions on how to go about doing it. So I am going to look at this particular example so that I can use that as a guide. And I'm going to open up my paper. And here we go. I've already pasted this particular example, so that way I don't have to have that opened at the same time. So let me go ahead and get started. So here's my first author. I'm going to type in Harding, comma, J dot space F dot space A dot comma space. And I'm going to do the last one, another one. Harding, comma, space A dot space G dot. The next thing is I'm going to put in the year. And let me make this big again. And this one's 2014 is right here, very handy. So I'm going to put in 2014 inside the parentheses. I'm going to put a period, space. So then the next step is I need to add the title of my chapter. And I'm going to use the same non-italics, regular font, and capitalization. I'm only going to capitalize just the first word. Video games and seizures. And then again, the first letter in the subtitle. And that's it. So far, so good. Now, what I'm going to say is that this particular title is inside another book. So I'm going to type in to say that video games and seizures, a review is in this particular source. So now I need to go in and type in the last name, the information for the editor. In this case, I only have one editor, so I'm going to put in J, which is his first name initial, comma, Ram. If my source had two editors, let me look at the example down here. Here's here's the first editor, then I would use the ampersand, and then here's the second editor, right? The first name and middle name initials, and then the last name. And right here under EDS, that stands for editors. But since I only have one editor, and in parentheses, I'm just going to put ED in parentheses, comma. So then the next thing is to put in the title of the book. And the title of the book is Video Games, but I think it's a lot more than that. So I think it's over here, Parents, Perceptions, Role Models. So that's what I'm going to put in, the whole thing. But this time, I want to put it in italics, but still with the same capitalization, where I'm only going to capitalize the first word in the title, and then I'm going to capitalize the first word in the subtitle. Oh, went ahead and messed up. Okay, so then the next part is I'm going to stop my italicizing, and I'm going to put in parentheses if this was a volume of the volume from whatever number it is, and if it's a third edition, fourth edition, I go in fourth edition, and then the page range. But in this particular case, I don't think that this has a volume or an edition, but I'm going to go to the title page just to double check. So let me go to the cover. This one, behavior, no mention of it being a volume of something or a different edition. So I don't have to worry about that part. So let me make that small again. So all I have to do now is just put in the page range. So I'm going to do pp dot, and this particular pp is for the page range for this particular chapter. So then I have to go back into the chapter. I said I was going to do chapter 6. So chapter 6 starts in page 121, and then now I have to go to the other page. This is where chapter 7, 141. So I would say it ends in 140. 121 to 140. 121 to 140. Okay, and then now I'm going to close parentheses, and that's it. Now I have to now put in the publisher. And the publisher is just Nova Science Publishers. I'm going to type that in. Now that is it if this was a physical book. Because the physical book and the electronic version are the same thing, I don't have to put in anything else because it's just an ebook that are found through the databases. So that part is the same as the other video that we did on how to do the ebooks. So the only difference is this one, it has different chapters written by different people, and we have to go ahead and recognize them if I'm only using one particular chapter from this particular book. And the other difference is you have to put it in, and then put in the editor, and then you're going to put in the title of the book, and then the page range. So if I were to cite this within my my text, then I can just put it in here, add it in here, and I can say, oh, video games and blah, whatever it is, and then I can start my citation the way that I would do the other sources. Okay, so now let me add the authors, the Harding and Harding, comma, and 2014. And that's it. Now, if I was taking a direct quote, then I would just put a comma, p dot, and page, whatever the page number that I'm taking the quote from. But this one, I'm not taking a quote. Now, notice here that these two authors have the same last name. It's not necessary to add their initials in this spot here because Harding on Harding is just going to take them to this particular source. Then the other step is, of course, make sure that all of the font matches, because now I have a mix and match of different fonts. And then, of course, I need to go ahead and sort my sources again. So again, there are different variations to this. So the best thing to do is just get all your information together, follow the best example, and if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact one of the librarians or your professors.